Hello, everybody. Welcome to Old Tales of Nevada, past and present. Glad to have you with us this week. We got a great show in store, talking with one of our world-renowned doctors living here right in northern Nevada. And he's done some great work in the field of cancer. So we'll be back with the whole story right after this.
Hi there. I'm Roy Marshall of the Marshall Mint in Virginia City, Nevada. I'm proud to announce that our 7-ingot set honoring the V&T Railroad is now finished.
That's right, Roy. These beautiful 999 silver ingots celebrate the engines from the world-famous V&T Railroad and honor Nevada's sesquicentennial. These limited edition treasures can be purchased only at the Marshall Mint in Virginia City, Nevada.
Or visit us at marshallmint.com to get yours today.
Get the Charter Spectrum Triple Play. It's more than meets the eye. With over 200 free HD channels available, it's the most HD you can get. Instant access to over 10,000 on-demand movies and shows. Plus the Charter app for live TV that jumps to mobile devices in any room. All that for $29.99 a month. Switch to Charter Spectrum Internet, faster than the speed of WOW. Take off with 60 megs of speed, bandwidth that lets multi-people multitask, stream movies, play games, watch videos, and share vines all at once. No slowdowns. Shazam! For only $29.99 a month. Just call 877-959-1634. Then pick up Charter Spectrum Voice for unlimited local and long-distance calling. And catch this. No drop calls. Stuck in a contract? Charter pays up to $500 to get you out. Charter Spectrum TV, Internet, and Voice, $29.99 a month each. Call 877-959-1634. See for yourself. Call Charter today.
Fun, fashionable furs. Epitome of glamour for decades. Designer lines for women and men. Only the best will do. William Furs is the ultimate shopping experience for Reno, with furs, accessories, and great gift ideas. Winter is here. Enjoy savings of 20 to 50% off. Treat yourself or your loved ones and choose from thousands of pieces in our beautiful new inventory. William Furs, a full-service fur salon since 1977.
Welcome, everyone, to Old Tales of Nevada, past and present. I'm John O'Brien, the host of the show. And with me, as usual, is our good buddy, Roy Marshall, on the other side of the set there. Roy, welcome to the show. Our special guest today is Dr. James Forsythe. And like I said in the tease, he's one of our most renowned doctors living here in northern Nevada. Done some great work with cancer, and we're going to explore that whole story with the doc as we go through the hour. But we want to welcome you to the show, Dr. Forsythe.
Thank you, John.
Glad to have you with us. Glad to have you with us. You know, as we begin our shows, always, this is our 183rd episode, by the way. You're right. So we're getting out there, aren't we? Huh?
Yeah, we're getting up there. A lot of wonderful people.
Yeah, for sure. We've had some great folks on the show. But we want to know why we do the show. We always start with you about that and what you're up to up in the Comstock.
Yeah, well, I'm up to the same thing at the Comstock, pouring silver and gold bars, and we're moving into now working on the extraction of other metals from the materials.
Yes, you are.
But basically, we do the show each week to bring pride for those people that live in the state of Nevada, and also, all of us make a certain mark upon the earth, some deeper, some not quite so deep, but we all may have an influence, and the community leaders from our area, around this area, have really done great things. So we have done 182, this will be the 183rd community leader that we have interviewed, basically, and then this interview goes to the Nevada Historical Society and UNR's Special Documents Division, so these ladies and gentlemen, in fact, do get recorded in the history of the state of Nevada, and obviously we're trying to get a lot of them before they pass away.
That's right.
So we're working on them here.
That's right. But it is kind of nice to have all of that information collected and there at the Historical Society, so people can go back in time, because we have had a lot of great entrepreneurs, historical figures, like the doctor here, making a legacy for himself and for the future, and people want to know about that 50 years from now.
Very true.
So wonderful opportunities here with the Old Tales of Nevada, past and present. I just wanted to mention up at the Marshall Mint, which is one of your enterprises there, You have collected all 7 of those locomotives.
Yeah, found in all 7 of the local ingots in the Virginia and Truckee most popular locomotives.
That's right. So that's great news. And so you can get the whole thing in a beautiful, beautiful case that you've provided
nice
for.
Case for them too. And,
so check it out.
Once we finish this one, we're starting now on a wild horse, the famous wild horses of Nevada.
Right. And in fact, Dr. Forsythe has really jumped in with his interest in those Mustangs, and we're going to talk about that with our show today as well. So great things happening in Nevada. We had some great news last week when we spoke with Lance Gilman, and that was in the commercial side of what's happening in Nevada. But today we're going to focus on the healthcare side of Nevada, the medical side of Nevada, and we have pioneers in this field as well, doing some great things. Dr. Forsythe being one of these in the forefront of that. So that's why he's here on the show, and we want to start first of all by finding out a little bit about you, Doc. We want to know, are you a native of Nevada or what?
No, John, I'm a native of Michigan. I grew up, I was born in Detroit, but spent some of my life as a child on a dairy farm in northern Michigan, Onaway. My dad was from Grand Rapids, my mom from Alpena, so a Michigan family. And I found out through Ancestry.com, interestingly enough, that my maternal grandfather was a Brownlee. That was his name. He was a railroad engineer, but he came down from Canada. But he and the Kennedy clan came over from Ireland together, and Sarah Brownlee and one of the Kennedys married. So somehow I have some Kennedy genes in me. He was a offspring of the Kennedy-Brownlee original marriage from Ireland. So I have some John Kennedy genes in me. I don't know how many.
How about that?
So, you asked what you could do for your country, not what the country could do for you, right? But did you have a medical family behind you here, or was it? You said dairy farmers. That evidently is not medical.
No, those were uncles and aunts who ran a large dairy farm in Onaway, Michigan, just below the Upper Peninsula.
I see.
So I learned how to do hay and milk cows, and
that's real work.
And there were 5 boys in the family and 1 girl, and it was a great experience because I'd known only Detroit and big cities, and we lived in Chicago while my dad was actually a stockbroker and a trust deed salesman, mainly in the business world. Got hurt pretty badly in the Depression in the 29 fall. But recovered from that, and then we moved to California when I was to Southern California, Hollywood actually, when I was 9 or 10, and went to school there. Made 1 trip back to Michigan, and then actually when I was in the 9th grade, moved to Southern California permanently, where I finished high school and. Then matriculated to the University of California at Berkeley.
Oh, okay.
On scholarship.
That was back in the 60s or so, or what?
This would have been 56 to 60 at Berkeley. And graduated with a 3.7 grade point average from Berkeley.
Way to go.
Physiology, biochemistry major. And they accepted me right away across the bay at UC San Francisco, the medical school.
Great university there, in the forefront of medical research, right?
One of the top 5 medical schools at the time, and still is up there in the top 10.
Yeah.
So I had a good experience there, and actually was able to be a teacher for my own classmates. I started running out of money in my senior year, and I've called into the dean's office. They said, "We don't think you're going to make it here financially because we've looked at your record." And I said, "Well, give me a chance." So I looked into an Army fellowship, and if I joined the Army in my senior year and agreed to pay them back 3 years extra for my military service, they would pay for my senior year and pay all my debt off. So
how about that?
So it was too good an opportunity to let go. And at the time, I was married with 2 children.
Wow.
And so I needed all the help I could get. So I got, they enlisted me as the second lieutenant, John, in the military. And then I was lucky enough to get my internship right at the Presidio at Letterman Army Hospital.
There you go.
Which was about 10 minutes from where I lived in the Presidio Heights.
Yeah, it's a beautiful area.
San Francisco. It's a gorgeous area. I used to drive my scooter to the hospital every day.
Yeah.
One day I met the general was driving the other way, and he didn't like the fact that I was not in uniform. I had a white coat on over my uniform. That was a no-no. So I was roundly chastised.
Yeah, it's really kind of a unique location for that hospital. It's right in the middle of the city. That you would think a university like that would have a beautiful campus, but really it's just right in amongst the retail areas there off of Gary Street, isn't it?
I mean, UC San Francisco.
Yeah, UC San Francisco.
Well, on Parnassus, it's right above Golden Gate Park. Of course, they moved the whole campus now to the ballpark area.
Oh, okay.
And so it's right down there a couple blocks away from the ballpark. So much broader, better weather for one thing, but it's a huge campus now.
Oh, it is.
It occupies about 4 or 5 city blocks.
Okay, because I was in San Francisco. Had to go to the university hospital there, and it was off of Gary Street and Divisodario, very close to just at least the cancer therapies were there.
Mm-hmm. You might be thinking of Mount Zion Hospital.
Mount Zion Hospital is what I'm thinking of.
That's part of the system, and so is Children's Hospital.
Oh, okay. So, but very nice. I mean, very nice.
Very nice.
Beautiful people there working there. Mm-hmm. Really a caring staff. So I had a great experience there. But so you spent and graduated there and
went into internship there. And then about that time, the Vietnam War had broke out. I didn't even know where Vietnam was, so I had to look at a map and see where the heck is this place. And I don't want to necessarily go there. So I wasn't sure what specialty I wanted to go into, so I picked pathology because it was good for any surgical subspecialty or any medical subspecialty. So they sent me to Tripler Army Hospital, Honolulu, Hawaii, which wasn't bad duty.
Oh, that's not bad duty.
Yeah. And ended up having a home on the windward side of the island and spending the next few years at Tripler as a pathology training, got my degree in pathology. Mm-hmm. Then the war was heating up more, so they shipped me to North Carolina, to the 82nd Airborne, Womack Army Hospital, Fayetteville, North Carolina. And so I spent another 2 years there as assistant chief of pathology of the hospital there, and with the 82nd Airborne taking care of the troops.
That's wonderful. So if you're going to spend some time during the Vietnam War somewhere, that's a good place to spend it.
Well, it didn't last forever. I finally got orders for Vietnam. I thought maybe pathology would be a place where I wouldn't necessarily be called up to, but I wasn't. So I got orders, and in January of 69, I was shipped to Vietnam, and our plane was actually, as we were landing in Tan Son Nhut Air Base in Saigon, our plane was actually fired upon by the Cong because it was the beginning of the second major Tet offensive.
Oh, okay.
So we had to circle the airport for at least an hour before the ground troops took care of the guys that were firing at us. And we landed. I kissed the ground. I wasn't sure. We were stationed there a couple of weeks in a transfer station where they put all the officers, and they weren't sure where we were going to go. Finally got transferred up to Chulai by the sea, which is in the southern part of I Corps, and I became chief of pathology of that hospital there, evac hospital, and then I also ran the laboratories at a surgical hospital. I ended up being chief of infectious disease, malaria control, blood banking, and forensic pathology. So wide experience.
Well, listen, we got to take a break right here, and that's a good time to do it. And then we'll pick up from Vietnam to how the heck do you get to Reno? So we'll be back with that whole story and Old Tales of Nevada, past and present, right after this commercial break.
Fun, fashionable furs. Epitome of glamour for decades. Designer lines for women and men. Only the best will do. William Furs is the ultimate shopping experience for Reno, with furs, accessories, and great gift ideas. Winter is here. Enjoy savings of 20 to 50% off. Treat yourself or your loved ones and choose from thousands of pieces in our beautiful new inventory. William Furs, a full-service fur salon since 1977.
At Harry's Quality Cars, the 500 vehicles in stock speak for themselves.
Most of us have one owner car fax reports.
We all have warranties. I have very low mileage.
I'm the prettiest car in stock.
I'm muscle-bound and ready for the hills.
Harry's Quality Cars, local and family-owned for over 40 years on Kitski and Gentry and on South Virginia Street. Harry's cars really do speak for themselves.
Drive one of us home today!
Shoeman's Custom Cycle with a biker's bike shop. From the new set of pipes to custom renovations, building ultimate machines is our reputation. Feel the performance, experience the power. From chrome to leather, the selection doesn't quit. If it wasn't done to Shoeman's, it ain't. Shoeman's Custom Cycle with a biker's bike shop.
We've invested billions to bring you the most advanced network in the nation, Charter Spectrum. Get the most HD anywhere with Charter Spectrum TV. Over 200 high-def channels available, 10,000 instant on-demand choices, and the Charter app to watch live TV anywhere at home on your mobile devices. Just $29.99 a month. Call 866-517-6150 now. Charter Spectrum Internet accelerates you to incredible speeds. 60 megabits per second, 20 times faster than phone company DSL. Just $29.99 a month. And Charter Spectrum Voice delivers unlimited calling with none of the phone company's extra fees or taxes. Just $29.99 a month. Charter Spectrum. More free HD, faster internet, unlimited calling, and no contract to sign. Just $29.99 a month each. Call 866-517-6150 now. Charter Spectrum is here.
We're back here in Old Tales in Nevada, past and present. We're talking with Dr. James Forsythe, a great doctor right here in northern Nevada, has the Century Wellness Clinic actually down there right next to Lowe's. What's that street that you're on? Hamel Street? Is that the name?
521 Hamel Lane, right across from P.F. Chang's.
Yeah, doing some great work over there. We're going to get to all of that in just a little bit. But we left our last break. You were in Vietnam, shipped over there. And after a couple of nice years other places, you're in Vietnam. Did you see any action over there?
We saw action 7 days a week, and we were on a beautiful beach there on a cliff and overlooking the South China Sea. So in our off time, which wasn't much, we were able to snorkel and scuba dive. And
oh, that's good.
We did get hit by rockets. In fact, we had a rocket attack one night. I had put metal steel planks under my bed and sandbags around my bed so that if I heard a rocket coming in, because you could generally hear the swish coming in, I learned to roll off the mattress under the bed and between two metal plates. I thought I'm not going to take it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, one night the rockets hit the hospital, and a nurse who was just a second lieutenant had just arrived about a month earlier, took a piece of shrapnel in the neck, and we ran over the hospital. I carried her to the operating room, but she had bled so extensively from her carotid arteries that it was impossible to save her. She has a big memorial to her. She was the only active duty nurse killed in the war.
Yeah, deservedly so. She should have a memorial for herself. But it's hard to come out of Vietnam without being unscathed in some way, because it was such a nasty situation.
One other close incident, John, I'll tell you about. We were flying in a Chinook over to an offshore island where there was supposedly just women and children. The Viet Cong were not supposed to be there. And they needed medical attention, so we went and treated them all day. In dusk, we were going back to the mainland, which was about 26 miles away. The island was about the size of Santa Catalina here, off the California coast. And a rotor blade went out coming back, and the pilot said, take off your shoes, prepare to ditch. We're going to have probably a water landing, and get ready to evacuate the plane as soon as it lands. So he made it almost to the beach, but about 100 yards away in 3 to 4 feet of water, and we had our shoes tied around our neck.
Wow.
And we waded ashore, and then he gave us the word, well, we can't get a rescue plane to come and get us tonight. It's too dark and too dangerous. So, and we don't know for sure there are no Viet Cong on the island, so bury yourself in the sand and on the reeds. And I did that. I wasn't sure I was going to wake up in the morning alive, and did make it, and the rescue plane came in, but I was very fortunate. No one actually got hurt or killed on that. He made a soft landing on the coral reef. So
wow, amazing. Yeah. Well, you survive a situation like that, you want to make sure you use the best use of your life after that, right? Every day counts.
Absolutely. Life becomes very precious.
That's right. So eventually you were sent home from Vietnam.
Yes.
And where did you wind up then?
I actually wound up back at Letterman Army Hospital. I was a pathologist associate there at the big hospital where we were training students from UC San Francisco and the Army training centers. And I had to put in another 6 months before the Army let me go. But because I wanted to go into further residency, I decided to go into internal medicine and get training there. So I took the GI Bill was offered to me to do my residency, and I took him up on that. But I stayed in the reserves, John, because I needed that extra money. I had a wife and children, and lived in Marin County, and had to, the bills
it's expensive.
were expensive.
It's not easy living in Marin County.
So I did my time, and I actually stayed in the reserve, then went from the reserve to the National Guard. My wife became a state nurse, and I was state surgeon for a 10-year period.
Wonderful.
Until I retired. I was actually on call for the first Gulf War II, on standby. So I'm a retired full colonel with the Guard.
Okay.
And my wife retired.
A full bird, huh?
A full bird.
A full bird. Okay. So now, what brought you to Nevada? What got you over here? Let's get.
After my internal medicine residency, John, I went into a fellowship at UC San Francisco. I intended to always go back to my main campus. Yeah. And took 2 years of training, and this was the first class of doctors that were trained in oncology, a new subspecialty of internal medicine, which was basically cancer treatment, medical cancer treatment. And we were on the forefront of all the new drugs, and it was a great experience. Most of my fellow associates in my class became department heads at various large universities.
Really? Yeah, that university is known for its research, right? It's cutting edge.
Very much so.
Yeah, yeah.
So I practiced in the city in San Francisco with a small group of doctors. We were seeing AIDS patients at that time who were getting cancer. We didn't know what AIDS was. We didn't have a test for it. We didn't have any immune testing. All of us were scratching our heads wondering what the heck we were treating. We had no idea. We didn't know how to treat it, really. It was a very frustrating thing. And remember, it wasn't until the early 80s that the HIV virus was defined.
Right,
and this was in the mid-70s. But we were a couple blocks away from the gay district, which was Polk Street. Anyone who knows San Francisco knows that the gays tend to gravitate toward Polk Street at that time. Now they're over in the Castro district. But so we were seeing quite a bit of cases there in a very frustrating situation to not be able to know how to treat a disease. I always had pride in myself that I was a good diagnostician, but this one was beyond me.
Yeah.
So anyway, a couple years in the city, it was a tough go because you had to go to 6 or 8 hospitals a day. You had to do the bridges and the traffic. And then,
the grind.
If you're on call at night, you have to do the bridges again. And it was I felt I wasn't going to live beyond 50 if I kept that up. So I wanted a smaller city. I had a condo at Lake Tahoe at the time. Decided I liked the area, liked the smallness, liked the fact you could get on a hill and see the whole city.
Yes, that's a story common to many of our guests who come from some other place. They see Reno and they just fall in love with it because it's small, but yet we have some big city amenities. You can do business here. Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
and they had no oncologist here. fact, I went to see Dr. Anderson, who one of the medical school buildings is named after. And he said, we don't really need an oncologist here. I'm a surgeon and I do all the cancer work myself, so don't waste your time coming here.
Oh, really?
So now there are about 15 oncologists here, incidentally.
I find that kind of odd that statement would be made, because I've always heard, even before I came to Nevada, that Nevada was kind of known for people contracting different types of cancer, maybe because of the atomic testing down in southern Nevada. But I've always heard that Nevada, Utah was kind of a place where cancer flourished, and you would need oncologists.
Not only that, John, what you mentioned about atomic testing, but the Fallon area had some above-ground testing, and people used to actually go and sit on the hill and watch the clouds come over, and it was kind of a spectacle, like a 4th of July fireworks. Right. And they would be rained down with radioactive material.
Oh, my goodness.
And I was seeing all kinds of, when I first got here, at least in the first few years, a lot of cases of thyroid cancer and leukemia.
So you're saying that at Fallon they did above-ground atomic testing?
Yes, they did.
Oh, my goodness. How large?
Well, they didn't do much of it, but enough to...
cause a problem.
Not only that, it got into the groundwater, and then later on there was a leukemic epidemic, which I identified in the late 70s, that was causing childhood leukemia to be in large numbers for what the population was at that time. Fallon was only 25,000 people, and yet they had 16 cases of childhood leukemia when they should have only had one case every 5 years.
Was that back in the 70s, or did it reoccur in the 90s again? Because it seems I've heard there was some stories in late 90s, early 2000s.
It did continue. No one, and I started to call attention to it because I knew the arsenic in the groundwater was very high. We weren't sure with the Top Gun there whether the jet fuel was playing a role or whether other heavy metals, and it turned out when they came in and examined the water, it was heavy in arsenic and tungsten, and EPA was able to come in and clean it up, and the epidemic ended.
No kidding. So they were able to take care of it.
It shows you how heavy metals can be triggers for cancer. So that was very interesting.
Yeah, you probably learned a lot from that.
I did.
Yeah. So were you contracted by the government to diagnosed that, or you did that on your own?
My own. In fact, I asked the public health department at Berkeley to come and do an epidemiologic study.
Okay.
And they were able to say, yes, he's right, there is an increased amount of cancer in Fallon, and then they traced it to the groundwater.
Yeah, so it could have been all because of the atomic testing, getting into the groundwater, changing the elements around, whatever that stuff does.
As you know, our area in Hidden Valley and in the Fernley, the areas had high arsenic in their water supply, and in the Carson Valley we have high levels of mercury because, as you know, Roy, that mercury was used to separate the gold and ore.
Yeah, is there mercury up in the Comstock now, Roy, or is that pretty well dissipated?
Well, there's cinnabar content, which is little red crystals of mercury sulfide that occur with the silver gold deposits at Virginia City. But
now, does the EPA get involved in that up there, or is that they do? They've been working on. I used to live up in Montana, Anaconda area, and that was done because of industrial waste. And it developed a lot of arsenic in the groundwater there.
Actually, what happened here throughout the Great Basin area is that we had tremendous quantities of meteorite hits during the past 7,000 or 8,000 years.
Oh.
During that period of time, the meteorites caused these big mountains like Mount Davidson to form, and from an intrusive aspect. So these are areas that sank and then got pushed back up again. So in the process, the exhalations from the earth carry a lot of different minerals, including arsenic.
Yeah, because we're full of it. We're full of it. We got to take another break here on Old Tales of Nevada, so stay tuned. We're going to talk about some of the great new ways of dealing with cancer that Dr. Forsythe has pioneered, and this brings us a great deal of pride being able to have someone like this doing work like that right here in northern Nevada. So we'll be right back.
Fun, fashionable furs. Epitome of glamour for decades. Designer lines for women and men, only the best will do. William Furs is the ultimate shopping experience for Reno, with furs, accessories, and great gift ideas. Winter is here. Enjoy savings of 20 to 50% off. Treat yourself or your loved ones and choose from thousands of pieces in our beautiful new inventory. William Furs, a full-service fur salon since 1977.
Deluxe Travel has been serving the Northern Nevada business and leisure traveler for over 30 years. Make 2014 the year Deluxe Travel meets your travel needs. Don't be fooled that you can find better deals on internet travel sites. Deluxe Travel will always get the best prices and provide the personal service you deserve. Let Deluxe Travel send you on your travel destinations today. Deluxe Travel, the official travel agency for Old Tales in Nevada and most Reno businesses. Have a great trip.
At Harry's Quality Cars, the 500 vehicles in stock speak for themselves.
Most of us have one owner car fax reports.
We all have warranties. I have very low mileage.
I'm the prettiest car in stock.
I'm muscle bound and ready for the hills.
Harry's Quality Cars, local and family owned for over 40 years on Kitski and Gentry and on South Virginia Street. Harry's cars really do speak for themselves.
Drive one of us home today!
Hi, and welcome to Boutique Elegante. We're so excited about the new fall fashions. Of course, denim is still the key word for casual fall. Team with tunics or sweaters, you'll look great. That's overcargo pants in the Loden for fall colors. Coat sweaters so perfect for fall weather, done in high fashion designs. You'll find the perfect ensemble for your special evening at the theater, a cruise, Reno, or San Francisco. All of this and so much more at Boutique Elegante.
Back once again here on Old Tales in Nevada, past and present. Glad to have you with us again this week. As we get started here, I just want to reintroduce everybody. I'm John O'Brien, the host of the show. Roy Marshall with us as usual on the other side of the set there. And our special guest is Brother James, or he's not my brother, Dr. James Forsythe. And we're just so happy to have him here because he's done such great work pioneering some new methods of handling the terrible disease of cancer. And as we broke, as Roy was explaining, we have many elements here in our earth that can bring us many benefits, but then there's also a detrimental side to that if we ingest that kind of stuff. Not to say that that's the only way people get cancer. Cancer comes from genetics and other types of reasons, I suppose, right, Doc?
Right, and in my book, Take Control of Your Cancer, which has been a bestseller by Ben Bella Press, published by Ben Bella Press, I list over 20 different causes of cancer.
Yeah.
And certainly toxic metals is one of them, and radiation, radon, and so on.
Yeah, which we have right here. We have radon, don't we?
A lot of radon in the soil. Anytime you have a lot of graphite in the soil, or granite rather, in the soil, you're going to have radon.
Yeah. So we want to let people know that we have a real source of information here. You were determined to be the oncologist of the year a couple of years ago, right?
That is correct.
And that was a national recognition.
Yes, it was. I was very proud of that. And,
yeah.
As an oncologist here, I've been on numerous boards in the hospitals. I founded the tumor board. I started the cancer wards in all three hospitals. I was the head oncologist at the VA hospital for a number of years.
Great hospital here.
Before they got their own staff.
Right.
And I worked with many patients. I had patients coming from all over northern Nevada, as far away as Susanville and further north, as far south as Bishop and the whole Tahoe Basin. I was seeing
basically all over the United States. Yeah.
But John, I was beginning to realize that the long-term survival of my patients was not that great, and I felt I was doing everything right, cookbook style, according to Betty Crocker's cookbook. It was like a recipe. Patient had an advanced pancreatic cancer. You'd use these drugs, and you'd give them every so many days or weeks, and the doses were all pretty much standard. So it was pretty much like being a chef in a restaurant. You followed the cookbook, and you were hoping to get the best results. But the results were dismal, and then I began seeing articles in the conventional literature both in this country and Australia, which had a similar population, that they were only batting 2.1 to 2.3% 5-year survival rate. So if a patient was on chemo for 5 years, you had a batting average of 2%.
That's terrible.
Well, what baseball manager would ever hire a hitter with a 2% batting average?
Not very many.
He'd be fired right away. So I felt, and then I was, because Nevada was very open to naturopathy and homeopathy, I saw quite a few patients from these practitioners, and they were doing a little better than some of my patients, so it didn't really make sense to me. They didn't have the surgery, the radiation, the chemotherapy. They were getting natural substances and yet doing better. So I said, I've got to be able to do this too, along with my conventional therapy, in order to improve the results.
Yeah, so you just don't choose one over the other. You combine the two. Because some people use exclusively the nature's way, I guess is the way I would describe it. But I had heard, and you can tell me whether this is true or not, that 25% of cancer patients pretty much can cure themselves. In other words, their immune system works on the cancer and gets rid of it. Is that just an old wives' tale, or?
25% is high.
It's high.
And it's hard to measure because no one has ever run the statistics, and oftentimes these are patients who do it under the radar and they're not counted by any.
Yeah, it comes and goes, so you don't know.
So we don't know, but we do know that the field of naturopathy, which deals in this, and homeopathy, do cure a lot of patients with natural substances, with diet, with pH balancing, with various oxidative therapies. And so I felt that in order to do that, I'd have to become a homeopath, which was legal in the state of Nevada.
Yeah.
So I studied with the British Institute of Homeopathy and got my degree. I had to take both an oral and a written test. So I became the only oncologist in the United States that was both a homeopath and a certified oncologist.
Yeah, very unusual. Although it's becoming more commonplace now.
Yes.
In fact, I even hear on TV advertisements of certain cancer centers where they include the nature's way along with the more conventional medical side.
You're absolutely right, John. And my own alma mater, UC San Francisco, now has a department of integrative oncology run by Dr. Donald Abrams, who incidentally is heavy into the study of marijuana and its effect on cancer.
He doesn't use it, does he?
The CBDs. Well, remember, there are parts of marijuana that don't have much THC, so the fun part is gone, but the chemical part that treats cancer, which I know that you know about, you, Roy, you're very much into this as well, that treats the cancer with the oil, the hemp oil is called, or marijuana oil, cannabinoids, but the CBDs are very therapeutic. There's not enough data out there for me to tell patients to run out and get it right away. But the data is being collected that it's going to show it's effective. And I do have patients that I've referred to various sources to get the hemp oil and to use it as a maintenance therapy.
Yeah. What I've seen, Doc, is and you can clarify some of this stuff, is that it seems to be fads as far as things having to do with the natural substances and what cures cancer or will deal with cancer. You hear for a couple of years, well, if you use this, it'll get rid of cancer, and it seems like everybody wants to do the same thing. But what are you finding out about cancer that would make that kind of assumption false? Isn't each individual different and have different needs as far as their cancer therapy goes?
Absolutely, John. You hit on a very important point. You can't pigeonhole cancer patients into one little protocol and say this is for everyone. They're all different because your cancer, whether you had prostate or lung cancer, is going to be different than the next fellow who has the same disease. And this is why it's so important to look at the genetic structure of every cancer patient. Remember the Human Genome Project, which went on from the 1990s to 2003, costing over $100 billion, totally defined all of our 46 pairs of chromosomes and the genes. So, and it's still going on because it's being used more and more. It's called genomic testing. It's being used for addiction problems. It's being used for psychiatric problems like depression. And it's being used in other illnesses, heart disease, etc. However, the first genetic cancer test cost $100,000. It was done in the early 2000s. Now the price is down around $2,000 to $3,000.
Really?
There are 3 labs in the world that do this at an expert basis. And remember, I'm a pathologist by training, but this is way above my pay grade. It's very, very highly technical stuff. So you have to take the blood, and you're using, remember, you're going after circulating tumor cells, CTCs. So I take your blood, I send it to the lab, and I'm using the one in Greece. I've used the one in Germany. I've used the one in Korea. They don't match up. The one in Greece by far is the best, even though their economy is shaky. I realize that, but they're ahead of the curve on the genetic testing. They come back with a 20-page report at 10 to 14 days. And now I have a blueprint for you, John, or for you, Roy, for your cancer. And I can say this is specifically what drugs are best for you, what supplements are best, and if it's a hormone-driven cancer, like prostate cancer, like breast cancer, like uterine cancer, ovarian cancer, which are hormone-driven, then we know what hormone manipulations to do also.
Okay. So what's your end goal there is to build up the immune system to the point where it attacks and kills the cancer? Is that what you're all trying to do here?
Well, let me explain how I do it. So I get the report, I make a protocol, and I'm looking for the best drugs. And you say, well, what are the best drugs? They've identified drugs that are sometimes over 80% kill ratio effective. And I always explain to patient, a kill ratio is kind of like the American Sniper, the most popular movie out there right now. The sniper is in the tree. There's 100 terrorists in the jungle. They're coming out. He's able to shoot 80 out of 100. That's his kill ratio. So the sniper is basically the drug you're picking. The terrorists are the bad cancer guys. Okay?
Got it. So you get 80% of them. What happens to the other 20%?
Okay, and that's an excellent question. Then you have a group of supplements, maybe 12, 16, that are all 20, 30, 40% effective. They never reach those high levels. But those are now adding to the mix. So if you had a mathematical formula, you'd have 280s here, plus you have 20, 30, 40. So you have an additive factor. You're pushing that response rate into the 90s, and then I tell patients, remember, all we have to do is get it into the 90s, get the volume of cancer small enough so that your body's own immune system can attack. Because remember, all of us, all 3 of us, and everyone else is throwing off cancer cells all the time, but our immune systems are able to snuff them out, to handle them. And so we say, once we get you into that 90%, we know we have a good chance of complete remission plus time equal cure. And I always tell patients, you have to be in a complete remission defined as no measurable disease present, plus the time factor, always in the equation, 3 to 5 years. So then you have a cure. So
are you trying to, is it the blood that you're building up there, the cells in the blood, or is it the body cells? I mean, what are you trying? What are you building up? What are you building up that kills the cancer? That's the question.
First of all, you have a list of the best supplements. These are all immune stimulating substances. You're building up your B cells, your T cells, your natural killer cells, your white cell factors, and your general health of the patient. That is those are your internal fighting forces, remember. And I also tell patients, hey, stay away from those high radiologic procedures that are beating down your immune system. PET scans, CAT scans, bone scans, John. Remember, a PET CT, which often is done every 3 months, makes 600 times the radiation dose of a plain chest X-ray.
Wow. Let's take a break there, but I've had some of those, so now you're scaring me. Listen, we're going to come back with more with Dr. Forsythe and you, Roy Marshall, on Old Tales Nevada Past and Present after we hear from a couple of our sponsors. Thanks.
Hi there, I'm Hugh Roy Marshall of the Marshall Mint in Virginia City, Nevada. I'm proud to announce that our 7-ingot set honoring the V&T Railroad is now finished.
That's right, Uroy. These beautiful 999 silver ingots celebrate the engines from the world-famous V&T Railroad and honor Nevada's sesquicentennial. These limited edition treasures can be purchased only at the Marshall Mint in Virginia City, Nevada.
Or visit us at marshallmint.com to get yours today.
Get the Charter Spectrum Triple Play. It's more than meets the eye. With over 200 free HD channels available, it's the most HD you can get. Instant access to over 10,000 on-demand movies and shows. Plus the Charter app for live TV that jumps to mobile devices in any room. All that for $29.99 a month. Switch to Charter Spectrum Internet, faster than the speed of WOW. Take off with 60 megs of speed, bandwidth that lets multi-people multitask, stream movies, play games, watch videos, and share vines all at once. No slowdowns. Shazam! For only $29.99 a month. Just call 877-959-1634. Then pick up Charter Spectrum Voice for unlimited local and long-distance calling. And catch this. No drop calls. Stuck in a contract? Charter pays up to $500 to get you out. Charter Spectrum TV, Internet, and Voice, $29.99 a month each. Call 877-959-1634. See for yourself. Call Charter today.
We're back here for our last segment of Old Tales of Nevada, past and present, and what a fast hour it's been. Talking with Dr. James Forsythe, a very important, world-renowned oncologist right here in Northern Nevada. It brings us such pride, Uroy, to have, again, people like this in our community. Yeah. We have so many, both in the commercial side of life and now in the medical side, that are doing such great things.
Cures for cancer are absolutely essential.
Absolutely. And you were talking to us about your therapy being both medical and how do you how would you describe it?
Natural or east-west medicine, complementary. There's various names.
Yeah,
we
interactive.
call it integrative oncology.
Okay, integrative oncology. And so what have been your results with these patients? Because I know you work with a lot of stage 4 patients. They come to you as a kind of a last resort, don't they?
Stage 4 is my primary practice. I do some hormone testing and hormonal manipulation as well. But once I became a homeopath, John, I was able then to give things that I couldn't give as a conventional doctor. Certain IVs, IV vitamin C, IV peroxide, immune therapy, the Forsythe immune protocol. So I began doing what's called outcome-based studies. So basically we're looking at, if I treated a patient in this way, what would be the outcome? How long would the patient survive? Because anytime you have stage 4 cancer and you're progressing, that means death. There's no way out of that.
Right.
So what we're looking at is length of survival and matching it up with what's in the conventional literature. Remember, the goalpost I'm fighting against is a 2% goalpost.
Yeah.
So my first study I did was with pawpaw for Nature Sunshine, which is from the pawpaw tree, and it's a natural substance that causes the cancer cell to go into programmed cell death. Cancer cells don't know how to die. They just accumulate. Most people don't realize that it's not that they're killing everything in sight, it's that they just accumulate because they don't have the energy to die. They're anaerobic cells. They only feed on simple sugars. They have to have an acid pH to work, and they have to have low oxygen tension to work. So there are various characteristics that the conventional oncologist never really thinks about.
Right.
In fact, in the infusion centers in most hospitals, you'll see a big bowl of candy and soft drinks.
Yeah, right.
Lots of sugar.
Yeah, right.
And
fuel on fire.
And if the patient asks, doctor, what can I take diet-wise to help my cancer, they'll say, just eat anything, just make sure you don't lose weight.
Yeah.
Or something silly like that. They don't appreciate the fact that you have to starve the cancer by keeping away the simple sugars and the high glycemic foods.
Get the pH up.
That's important.
Or the pH levels up to kill cancer, I heard as well, is another way to do
Keeping yourself alkaline. And the second study I did was on poly-MVA, which is a product developed at Stony Brook University by Garnett and McKean. And this product is a product of tightly bound palladium and lipoic acid, plus a number of other vitamins, minerals, and amino acids. And this product also causes cancer cells to die in a hurry and affects the rate of their demise.
Yeah. So all of this put together then has produced some really nice results for
Not
patients.
as good as my last study, which is now 750 patients at 4.5 years. We started in 2010. We're up to 54 months right now, and we're showing a 64% survival rate of stage 4 cancer, 32 times greater than the conventional literature.
Now, how's their quality of life over those 4.5 years?
It's excellent because we're using low-dose chemo, John.
Okay.
We're using a 10% chemo dose, and it's called IPT, insulin potentiated therapy. So we're tricking the cancer cells by giving a little insulin with a little chemo to thinking that sugar's coming along, and they avidly grab up the chemo from the environment, and the normal cells are left alone.
Isn't that amazing?
So
it's mind-boggling.
The Trojan horse phenomenon.
Yeah.
And it's something I've developed over the years, but is showing, as I said, a 32 times greater survival rate than what's out there in their literature, not in the alternative literature.
Yeah, it's amazing the strides. Every year they just keep coming out with more ways, more understanding of the genes that you talk about and how to attack them, and to make sure that they have this thing under control.
And an interesting note: several weeks ago, December the 7th to be exact, a surgeon from Southern California was featured on Sanjay Gupta's program, who's the medical editor for CNN, and his name is Dr. Sun Xiong. He made $11 billion by developing a cancer drug called Abraxane. He came on the program and said, we want to find the best treatment for cancer, and I'm going to devote half of my treasure, half of the $11 billion, to finding this. And Sanjay Gupta asked him, well, what is the best treatment right now? He described in detail what I'm doing for 10 years.
Well, very good. All right. Yeah. So we're on the right track here, right in northern Nevada with Dr. Forsythe. So let's just move away from your practice. If you want information, though, you have a website, and it's the Century Wellness Center, and you can go right there, .com, and you can also go to his office, which is right here next to Lowe's on Hamel Drive. It's right on the corner of McCarran and Hamel, right by the stoplight there.
Actually, right on the corner of Sierra Rose and Kitsky.
Oh, Sierra Rose and Kitsky, okay.
And across from P.F. Chang's.
Yeah.
Very easy to find.
Yeah, so you can have lunch and then go get your cancer taken care of at the same time.
We have 2 freeway exits on either side of us.
Yeah.
And our actual website, John, is eForsythe@SBC. That's Sam Bravo Charlie in military lingo. Sam Bravo Charlie. Global.net.
Okay, very good. So check it out, and you'll get some good advice from the doc. Now, do you take our insurances covering some of the therapies? Or?
Some of them can be. It's not covered by Medicare or Medicaid, of course, but some insurances still cover alternative therapies.
Okay.
So it's always worth a try and tap into that.
Right.
We're offering some new things. We're looking into things, as I said, like the hemp oil product. We're looking into homeopathic products like scorpion venom, like various snake venoms, even brown recluse spider venom, believe it or not, has cleared. The homeopathic preparations that deliver this are perfectly benign to the patient, but have a fierce ability to stimulate your immune system to react.
Again, trying to attack that enemy there.
So basically what you're trying to do, again, is stimulate your immune cells so much that they, instead of fighting the venom, they're fighting the cancer.
Gotcha. Sounds good to me.
And also we're looking at animal therapy, a certain type of animal therapy, which is called hippotherapy.
Yeah.
Hippo meaning in Greek, a horse. Remember, the hippopotamus is a water horse.
Right.
And hippotherapy involves bringing patients not only with cancer, John, but with PTSD and ADHD to the ranch, and we have a wonderful ranch close by called the Wenema Wild Horse Animal Farm. And it's 600 acres, and it's totally devoted to wild horses and to housing wild horses. And you may have seen the papers recently that the BLM is complaining there's not enough room to store all the wild horses, and they want to thin the herds. Well, this is what the ranch has done. It's actually provided a home for them where they get good feed and good water, and they're good care.
Yeah, so you and you, Roy, and the folks over here at the radio station with
He's here in the studio. Eddie Floyd. There you go. And our good country singer, what's her?
Lacey
J. Dalton, all in the middle of helping with that project. But what a neat and unique therapy to bring them up there and have people work with these horses. And you were telling me off air that it brings comfort to the patients?
Brings comfort. It's a spiritual experience to see these wild animals that are beautiful animals taken such good care of, and to see them running in the fields, getting plenty of food, water, getting groomed, having loving care, which they don't have, of course, in the wild, having shelter. All of these things are provided, and wonderful caretakers, Shar and Eddie Floyd, doing a marvelous job taking care of these animals. And we have wells on the property where the BLM has actually stated that they may actually give more of the BLM land for us to take more horses.
Very nice.
We're going to bring power out there. We're going to have ponds. We're going to have improve the sheltering and the barns and so on. The hay barns are all being improved right now.
Well, yeah, so you're going to put a lot of your resources into that.
Our foundation is putting ample resources into it right now. Mm-hmm. We can always use outside donations, of course, for those who love wild horses. I personally have had the privilege of taking care of Wild Horse Annie in the early 80s when she was suffering herself from cancer. Mm-hmm. And she was really the one that in this area brought attention to the wild horse problem and dilemma and the misuse and abuse of the wild horses.
Yeah. Now, UROY is going to develop a new ingot, right, UROY, with the wild horses on there?
Wild ingot set.
Yeah. So you'll be able to purchase those at the Marshall Mint, and I would imagine part of the proceeds go as well.
Most definitely.
Yeah, because, I always thought that not only the ranch up there, and that's by Gerlach, isn't it, the ranch?
The ranch is just past the Hallelujah Junction 70.
Okay.
So it's 2 miles past to the right. We call it 3 dirt roads past.
Okay.
And it's very easy to get to. It's only a half-mile drive from my door to the ranch.
Okay, very nice.
It's in Reno here.
Okay, very good. But I always thought that would be great. And even Virginia City, where we have a lot of tourists, they come up there. And if you could have some kind of refuge in that area as well for the Mustangs.
What actually needs to be done is the areas which are good for the development, the ecological development of wild horses in Nevada, Wyoming, Idaho, and Montana.
Why not?
Need to be isolated and developed into a scientific model.
Yeah.
And then that model can be used by the BLM and by the other agencies to say, well, this looks like a good area here. Go people there, and we do it in Montana right here.
Yeah, let's use it. Well, listen, we're out of time as usual. You, Roy, myself, and Dr. Forsythe want to wish you a great Nevada day.